It's been almost 5 years since the iPhone 12 Pro was released, and my feelings about this phone have been kind of mixed. The iPhone 12 has a lot of the same features that people care about, like 5G connectivity and the OLED display, for at the time $200 cheaper than what the iPhone 12 Pro was selling for. But that doesn't mean that the iPhone 12 Pro is missing out on features that could make it a good value in 2025. So in this video, we're going to go take a look at the iPhone 12 Pro and compare it to other iPhones around the same price to see if it's a smart purchasing decision in 2025. The iPhone 12 Pro was released back in late 2020 alongside the iPhone 12 and brought some exciting upgrades from the iPhone 11, like 5G connectivity, a newer boxier design, and of course my favorite, the OLED display, which can turn off individual pixels when the color black is displayed. But what made the iPhone 12 Pro exciting on the other hand was it had this nice Pacific blue color option, which I thought looked really good. It had a frosted glass back and a stainless steel frame. Some other improvements that the iPhone 12 Pro had was a 2x telephoto lens, an increase in max brightness, a raised space storage from 64GB to 128GB, and an added LiDAR sensor. But that's really about it in terms of improvements. Apple also made a bigger version of the iPhone 12 Pro, the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So in this video, I'm going to include that as well for those who are looking for bigger phones. So for phones that are similar in price to the iPhone 12 Pro, you have the iPhone 12, the iPhone 13, and the iPhone 13 mini. And then for phones that are similar in price to the iPhone 12 Pro Max, you have the iPhone 11 Pro Max, the iPhone 14 Plus, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now, some of these phones are kind of in the high and low end of this price range, but the whole general sense that I'm trying to give you here is phones that are similar in price to the iPhone 12 Pro value-wise. I'm going to go start off by talking about performance, and iPhones around this age range typically perform pretty well. What should really be concerned to you is how many years of iOS updates it has left. Now, typically iPhones last about 7 to 8 years on the latest iOS updates, which would mean that the iPhone 12 Pro has about 2 to 3 years of the latest iOS updates left, and then about another 2 years of app support updates after that. So realistically, you can expect a total life of about 5 years left out of the iPhone 12 Pro. Now, if you really want to extend that support, you could consider buying an iPhone 13 because it does have a year newer processor that might give you an extra year or two of the latest iOS updates. I will say though, if you are trying to go newer, avoid the iPhone 14 because it does have the same processor as the iPhone 13, and at that point you might as well just get the iPhone 13 or the iPhone 15. Next up, we need to talk about battery life, and this can vary greatly depending on how you use the phone, what you use the phone for, and what the battery health of the battery is at. Now I will say though that the iPhone 12 Pro has pretty good battery life that will get most people throughout a day unless you're a super heavy user. But I do want to keep in mind though that as I'm showing you this chart up on screen of where the iPhone 12 Pro sits compared to other iPhones, is that because of battery degradation and this being a used phone, you're likely going to have a battery health between 80 to 85%. So take 80 to 85% of that number that you see up on screen. And also as these batteries age as well, that battery health is going to go down at some point. So another thing you need to keep in mind as well is what it's going to cost to replace the battery, which typically is going to range anywhere between $60 to $90 depending on where you get the battery replacement from. I also want to take a look at some features that the iPhone 12 Pro is missing out on compared to newer iPhones. The iPhone 14 series did bring some emergency SOS improvements like emergency SOS via satellite, crash detection, things like that. But I would say unless you're an avid explorer or think you'll get in a car crash in the middle of nowhere, I honestly don't think those features are really worth spending extra money for. Same thing kind of applies to Apple Intelligence, which is on the iPhone 50 Pro and iPhone 60 and newer. If you think you're going to use AI a lot, those phones are definitely good to consider, but most people are probably not going to really take advantage of that, and you're just better off saving the money with the older iPhones. One thing that the iPhone 12 Pro stands out for compared to other similar priced iPhones is its cameras. The iPhone 12 Pro has a 12 megapixel rear camera with not only wide and ultra wide lenses, but also a third telephoto lens. Now, if we switch back to the regular iPhone 12, what you miss out on is that 2x telephoto lens, the LiDAR sensor, and Apple ProRes video. But other than that, the cameras on the regular iPhone 12 are pretty much the exact same as on the 12 Pro. And then if you decide to upgrade to the regular iPhone 13, you get focus control in portrait mode, 1080p cinematic video, and photographic styles, which is basically different color presets you can set for taking photos. So the iPhone 13 may be a better option for those who are into photography. And if you decide to upgrade from the regular iPhone 13 to the 13 Pro, you get even more camera features like macro, photo, and video, as well as ProRes video recording. And then the bigger phones also have pretty similar cameras. However, if you went from the iPhone 12 Pro Max to the 13 Pro Max, you would get 3x optical zoom. And if you were to downgrade to the iPhone 11 Pro Max, you would miss out on night mode portraits. This whole topic of talking about camera features is kind of hard to explain on camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link down below where you can go see the differences for yourself on Apple's website. And then we have the repair costs for these phones, and this is where things get kind of interesting. I'm going to go put the repair costs up on screen for iPhones that are similar in price to the 12 Pro. And as you can see there, they're pretty much the same exact cost to repair these. However, the iPhone 14, the back glass is a little bit cheaper because it's a non-fused back glass, which may be a nice option to consider if you think you might break it. But the whole general idea here is you want to protect your phone with a really good case and a good screen protector, and maybe even a camera lens protector. And then moving on to the repair costs for phones that are similar in price to the iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's pretty much the same exact story, except the repairs are typically a little bit more expensive because it's a bigger phone. I think that the iPhone 12 Pro is a really good phone to consider if you appreciate a more premium feel, as well as that telephoto lens and the LiDAR sensor. You also can justify it too if you want a 128GB iPhone 12, because the iPhone 12 Pro is only about $50 more. But if you're spending all that money for an iPhone 12 Pro, for about another $30 to $50, you could upgrade to an iPhone 13, which not only has the same 128GB of base storage, but also a 10% increase in battery life, cinematic video, and that photographic styles thing that was mentioned earlier, as well as an extra year or so of software support updates because it is a newer phone. However, if you did decide to go for that iPhone 13 though, you would miss out on the LiDAR sensor and that 2x telephoto lens. And then if your goal is to save money, the iPhone 12 is a really good option coming in at $220 because you get that 5G connectivity in the OLED display that people really care about in the iPhone 12 series. And then for the iPhone 12 Pro, I think the regular iPhone 12 or the regular iPhone 13 is a better value. And if you're someone who's looking for one of the bigger phone sizes, I really think that the iPhone 13 Pro Max or the iPhone 14 Plus is a better value there. But anyways, that's just my thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. If you found the video helpful, be sure to leave a like, and goodbye.